sont dit partout.
What's going on there, jerk faces? It's your boy Andy, and you're watching Nocturnal Transmissions, brought to you by the Circle of Jerks podcast. Conversation you could be having during the day, but having at night. We're back with another live stream for you guys. And as ever, co-piloting this thing with me is the homeboy Rob.
What's going on?
Lots to discuss today.
Nothing happened this week, Andy.
Nothing
at
happened.
All.
Yeah, nothing too much. You know, I got an ingrown toenail. That's always big news. But,
I scratched my ass.
You scratch your ass. I converted oxygen into carbon dioxide. Some guy named Elon Musk bought Twitter. I mean, that's not really important right now. Just a small little blip.
Yeah. California lawmakers making baby murder even more legal somehow.
Right. Yeah. And downfall of a kingdom. In Disney losing their special tax-exempt status, and also self-governing privileges in the state of Florida. All that in the next couple of hours, and as well as the conclusion to this month's movie review theme, and that is Anime April, and we'll be concluding this month with a review of a Street Fighter movie, a good Street Fighter movie, I should add. Street Fighter 2, the animated movie.
This is interesting because I actually never knew that this movie existed until I was doing research on anime films for that we could, because I was trying to choose things from so we get a little bit of variety, right? Like, I didn't want to. We could easily have done ugly films. We could have gone down like a certain rabbit hole, but I wanted to try to grab from a bunch of different things, and I was like, "What? They made a Street Fighter 2 anime film? What the heck?" It was actually, it was pretty good. And this actually came out just before the Street Fighter live action film.
Right.
And there's some similarities, but like this is what the Street Fighter movie should have been, but it just
right. I was gonna say, like, I didn't want to jump ahead, but I was just gonna say that this animated movie is what the live action movie should have been, because they didn't feel the need to like have every like core member from like Street Fighter 2 be like a main character. They had like the core group of like Chun-Li, Guile. They had all of them. Let me be straight about it. They had all of them, but like the core only focused on Chun-Li, Guile, Ryu, Ken, and at least in the U.S. market, and Bison.
Like Sagat, essentially.
Yeah. And that's all you really needed to do, and you just made everyone made everyone else kind of like secondary or background characters, and you just focus on that core group, and you tell a good story, and I'm gonna save it for the review, but I'm my little tweak on how the animated movie could have been better, but then also how it could have lended itself to translating also into a live action.
Oh yeah, like I said, it's not perfect, but it's we'll talk get to the review, because I have some thoughts too, but I enjoyed it, so
right now we'll just say we enjoyed it. But if you want the full review, just stick around, and we'll get to it.
Where do we
anything? Yeah, I mean, usually we do the whole like, oh, how was your weekend? How was your weekend?
Oh
But
well,
no,
my
but
week.
I don't know if you have nothing really, because I don't really have anything
I mean, other than
to share.
nothing like too significant. Like just kind of, right now, like it's kind of not that I don't want to like go out anywhere. I'm not like scared to go out, but right now, it's kind of it's too expensive to go fucking anywhere. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I don't want to drive anywhere. A lot. Right now, it's. I don't want to spend $100 on gas. Thanks to the great Biden administration. So yeah.
No. You mean Putin because of Putin.
Oh, right. The Putin price hike. Sorry.
Yeah, Putin
I
price
forgot.
hike. Come on, Rob. It's all about
Sorry.
Putin. All right, that son of a bitch.
I
That
need
vodka
to.
swilling son of a bitch jacking up our gas prices.
I need to listen to Jen Psaki more. I'm
Right.
sorry. So
She'll tell. Yeah, Jen Psaki. Yeah, she's the one that tells it straight. You know.
yeah, that White House press secretary that's gonna be working for MSNBC in like a couple of days. It's all above board, of
Right
course.
now, everything's above board. Except for like she being the first press secretary to not yet leave a job, but then have it announced that she's leaving the job for another job.
The media and government just gotta love it. Oh man, it's so great.
Yeah, I got it.
Um,
But okay.
so my point is, I spend a lot more time at home. Uh, so which is fine with me. I've been working on some potential movie reviews. I'm working on next month's theme for Bruce Willis, and I had to say, I watched our first movie that we're gonna do next week, and I was just blown away, pleasantly surprised at how cool the movie was. I would have never, I everything I read is like, oh, it's terrible, and the movie didn't do well, and just this is the movie he did that came out right before Die Hard,
Mhm.
and all the stuff that people are saying about it is completely wrong. It's awesome. So I was really excited to watch that this week, and
Right.
just
Yeah.
been
Color me weary because I know you're what is it? I know what your tolerance level for schlock is. So
this is like okay. So I would say because it is a western, but it's more of a western parody in a sense. Uh, and I think the reason it didn't do well is because it is the story is a little bit ridiculous because it does deal with Wyatt Earp, who at the point of like at the year that this movie was supposed to be like set in, Wyatt Earp died that year. So so clearly there's that. But this is also the westerns were pretty much dead at this point. This is 4 years before Unforgiven. This is before like Tombstone, Silverado,
mhm,
The Quick and the Dead, like kind of like where westerns kind of came back for a little bit
mhm.
before Wild Wild West killed it.
That's true. Yeah, there was a
um,
little bit of a resurgence because it stopped being like the kind of formulaic, gunslinger comes into town to like straighten it out or whatever. But they were, kind of doing like really like deep like drama kind of stuff with the westerns.
yeah, no, but
Um,
this is a fun western. It's just um it's just fun. I like I said, it's because there are like trust me, there are movies that I just I can't I hate like another Bruce Willis movie that it's not Bruce Willis's fault, but Cop Out is horrible. I hate that movie. Um, I've talked about uh, I don't like the original Mad Max. Um, what was the other movie I just really hate? It's just, I mean, I know it's, like I said, there are movies where I'm just like, this movie is horrible. I even like, and I watch shit movies for fun, and these movies are just like beyond the pale. They're
Yeah,
just,
see, yeah. Hence my sometimes my hesitation to when you say, "Oh, this is a good movie,"
I think,
even
well, no,
even though even though it's been even while it's panned by critics and such. But you countering and saying that it is a good movie, I'm always a little leery. Uh,
well,
in those situations. But I'll for this movie, I will remain open minded, of course.
but I tell you this honestly, this is not like, oh, this movie's like kind of just, like I said, this is not a super serious movie. It does have some serious elements to it. Like, think of it like a little bit more like in the line of Boss. It's kind of like it has that kind of fun to it, but like I said, there are serious elements to it. So it's like it's a little bit more. It's like Die Hard meets Boss in a sense.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Anyway, we got some really
But that's been my week.
yeah. Well, yeah. Nothing really for me to report. Some friends that I've known for a while, came in from out of town. They're missionaries out of Brazil. And I met them like almost 20 years ago, and like we've still been keeping in touch. But they were in town, and so it was good to see them. Um, just hearing about their ministry and their mission work. It was very encouraging. And yeah, and I don't know. I'm thinking about going out there next year. We'll see what happens.
All right.
But yeah, we got some we got a lot of like heavy, not heavy, but like a lot of things that I know that we're just gonna go off and like into the weeds, and I'm gonna do my best to keep us on track as much as possible. But yeah, let's get into the topics.
Yeah.
Well, let's start off with the easiest one, and let's talk about Twitter.
Yeah. Okay.
For those of you who were not plugged in at all or living on Mars, I don't know, beating Elon Musk to it. Elon Musk successfully, or his bid to buy Twitter was approved or accepted at just about like $44 billion.
Jesus Christ.
Which I forget what the value. I don't know. Yeah, like it's some like crazy evaluation.
I think he added like $25 on every share. So he overpaid to get it. Like he made it.
He gave like. It's interestingly enough. Just to backtrack just a little bit, I did start watching this TV show on Apple TV called Pachenko, and there's a similar situation because the story deals with like this young man who was kind of like trying to make it big at his like brokerage firm or whatever, and he basically puts it all on the line. Says like, hey, if I can close this deal, then you have to give me the promotion, and you have to give me my bonus, and like back pay from retroactive back pay, yada yada yada. But he makes basically the same move. And he basically and it's a land acquisition deal basically, and like there's the stubborn old woman that doesn't want to sell her property, and so he basically says like, well, you have to basically pay way overpriced for this. The show the Pachenko, by the way, it's a really good one. But yeah, Elon Musk does the same thing, and
I went the Godfather route. Like he went all Don Corleone on them, and it's like
right. Offer you can't refuse. But yeah, I mean he like I mean I don't know. Maybe Elon Musk did threaten the board's life, but I don't know.
Well,
allegedly, I don't know.
Horse's
But
head. But they he gave them a very strong offer. They refused it, and kind of like the director who refused him in the beginning. He's like, okay, and he pretty much like kind of made it to the point. He's like, oh, if you don't take my offer, I'm pretty much gonna destroy the stock, which is it's in a sense like in a figurative way, he threatened them, to threaten their lives.
Well, I mean, because yes, but he was what he was really not necessarily their lives, but he was threatening them. He was trying to what is it? Out them, because
What it, what
the whole point of the board is to do what is in the best interest of the shareholders and people that own because before Twitter was a publicly traded company, so it was beholden to the stockholders, uh, who they themselves are giving money to Twitter so they can make a return on their investment. But if the board was not going to take this offer, this ridiculously good offer of over the market value, for the stock, then it would have just been obvious. It would have been as plain as the nose on your face that Twitter is not about it's not a company that's interested in making money. It's about controlling the information. Um, Although now it's I saw the funniest video this morning. This content creator named Anomaly uh, shared this video, and a lot of other accounts that I follow on Instagram shared this video as well. It's like this MSNBC host. He was basically describing what they've been doing to like conservatives or Republicans on Twitter and social media in general for the past 7 years. It's like talking about this is what happened. What's gonna happen if one man takes over a company? Will he promote certain people over other people? Will they suppress other people and and advance others? Will he suppress information to after an election? It's like, yeah, these are all things we have to think about now. It's like motherfuckers, this is what you guys have been doing for the past 7 years. And now, now that it could potentially, I mean, not that I think it's going to happen, but potentially because that could happen to you now. Now it's a concern for you. Go fuck yourselves.
well, yeah, it's like, oh man, who could have just look at the mirror. Look at the mirror, guy. Who all these bastards and this is why I know this is the right move, because it's pissing off all the right people that
Yes, exactly.
And it's like, man, look at like I said, it's the spell is broken. We all it's for people who like us, we've kind of already known this, and it's just like we're enjoying the show.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that are waking up and saying, wait a second, like, you have kind of been doing this, but now you're coming out against this. Like, you're against
right. Well, now Elon Musk has effectively taken the gun from their hands and pointed it back at them. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, whoa. What's this hostility? It's just like, it's like, and it's like, and kind of like the saying that I've been talking, that came with which which I eventually realized was a derivative of a Bible verse, Psalms 37, 14, 15, which goes, "The wicked draw the sword and bend their bows to bring down the poor and the needy, to slay those whose way is upright. Their sword shall enter their own heart, and their bow shall be broken."
Yep.
That's exactly what's going on.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's going on. And like I said, I'm all for it. And this is we were talking about like before we started. No knock on these alternate Twitter like platforms like Getter, Gab, the thing that Trump was trying to start, True Social. Nothing. No knock on those guys. Like they're trying to do something. That, hey, they were trying create their own Twitter. You know, essentially, like they went that
Yeah, I
direction.
mean, they basically followed the advice of all those people, all those leftists who were saying, "Oh, you don't like it? You create your own," and like
Yeah,
that's what they did.
uh,
And so yeah,
and
so props to them.
but I was like, well, I don't like what's going on this platform. I don't like that some people have been, kicked off for dumb reasons. And here's the thing: I don't know what exactly happened, like whether it was something that happened to him, or somebody that he knew, or he was just like an outside observer. It's like something's not right here, and I don't like what these guys are talking about. And they're saying one thing and doing another, and I don't like that. It's like, you know what? I think that I can make this to what it's supposed to be, a public square. We have some, and it's not just like say whatever at all times or whatever, but it's like we'll have some rules that we'll set, and I'll just buy. I could create my own, which is gonna probably cost more than what it would cost to buy this platform. So why don't I just buy the one that works, that everyone uses, and we'll make it profitable. We'll make it we'll make it what it's supposed to be, and we'll make it better. Some of the stuff that he's talking about, like where we're gonna get rid of the bots. We're gonna have people verify their accounts. So like, hey, you have this thing set up, like you have to be a real person to be on this platform. We're gonna uh, make it more of a transparent. There is going to be a defined set of rules. You can't obviously threaten people. You can't make death threats, stuff like that. You can't blackmail people. Kind of can't do anything that's against the law, obviously. And we are gonna all the algorithm is gonna be open source, so anyone can see like how it works. And people are losing their goddamn minds. It's like, oh, what? No, this is he's gonna ruin democracy. It's like, oh god, I'm just like, I'm over that term. That's another term that
And
like
yeah, and here's something that someone brought to my attention is that they say that they use the possessive our democracy. They're not talking about like the general like ours. They're like talking about
literally.
themselves. They're talking about their side. It's like our democracy. It's like fine, you can have your democracy. I'll keep my republic. You
Yeah,
go have your democracy, and I'm and when your democracy fails because you give everyone a voice, I might consider letting you in to my republic.
yeah, exactly. It's all BS. It's all
Right, but
BS.
yeah, it's like, but yeah, this is kind of like in terms of significance. This is about equal to when Trump won in 2016, and I mean that in the sense that all these blue check marks are now are threatening to shut down their accounts. Like, well, I'm just gonna go somewhere else. That's not gonna happen. Like, I mean,
No,
even the alleged black man, uh, Sean King said that he was going to deactivate his account.
it's not
Uh,
black. It's just, I'm gonna say it
well,
right here.
exactly. That's why I say allegedly black man. The alleged black man, Sean King, said that he was gonna deactivate his Twitter, and lo and behold, he never did. And like someone called him out on it. It's like, oh no, that's not what I said. It's like, motherfucker, you said that you were going to um, deactivate your Twitter, and you never did. But it's like, and it's just like all those celebrities who are, or not, let's not say celebrities. I don't celebrate them, but all those famous people who are like, oh, if Trump wins, I'm moving to
I'm going to
Canada.
Canada.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, it's like, all right, so when you leaving? It's like, oh,
Yeah,
I never, oh, I
you know,
never said that. It's like, here's a
you
tweet.
know, they've been saying that since the 2000 election. Oh, I'm going to Canada.
Yeah, I'm sure the Democrats have been saying that ever since Lincoln. Um,
Fucking
but
idiot.
you know,
Fucking idiots.
um, yeah, but I mean, it's just now come like again, like the spells are broken, the masks are being removed, and people are you know have laid bare their their souls, as it were, and they're showing us who they really are. the left constantly crows about democracy, but they're authoritarians. They say they champion for all voices, but it's like they don't. It's like they only champion the voices that agree with them, and it's all clear as day now.
Yeah, like I said, it's exciting news. I think this will make Twitter better. And honestly, like if the all the people that said like, "Oh, we're done with Twitter," I'm done with this. This is bullshit. That's kind of make it a better piece. Um, and
Right.
yeah,
I mean, even after the news broke, Elon Musk tweeted out saying how he hopes that even his harshest critics like remain on the platform.
yeah,
Uh,
but
it's not, if it was me, I'd be like, hit the road, Jack.
yeah,
Don't let the door hit you on the way. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out. But I honestly wouldn't say that because it's like, yeah, I don't care. Like if you hate my guts, I would still want you to use my product.
yeah. I mean, like for me, because like my Twitter usage, like I go on it for certain things. Like I talk about sports, I'll talk about games, I talk about movies, uh, and well, and the most those interactions for me are more or less positive. Like because when I'm talking about things that I enjoy, I'm not. There's really not a lot where I'm like, oh, this fucking sucks. I'm not like that. But like when it comes to certain things that we talk about here, like the media, I constantly bash the media. Like I hate them. They are terrible. I hate a lot of what government does. I bash the government all the time on Twitter because I think most of the decisions that are made are terrible. And but yeah, it's and like I said, I'm not going out and like I don't do these ad hominem attacks on people or like you look like you have a stupid position. It's like I'm more of like you said something crazy, like what's your reasoning behind that, or if like they say something really like just like uninformed, where it's like where it's clearly like not a joke, that's actually what they think, and you can usually tell when it's a joke when it's not. It's just like, dude, you don't have no idea what you're talking about. And it's funny, I haven't been from what I know, I haven't been blocked by anybody, but like I people have, after I've responded to them, they've deleted their tweets like because I just like it's like I destroyed them with logic. It's like what? It's like
Right.
okay, well,
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I'll
yeah.
take a win.
And inflammatory as I am on here, I'm not a super debate guy. Despite impressions.
No, no,
Um,
you're not someone that like goes out to have confrontation, but you're also not going to be bullied either,
right. I
and
mean,
you're
the
well
only
informed.
time, yeah, like there was like one time, the only really one time that I had like a social media debate was on Facebook, and it was
Yeah,
yeah, and it was just with this, and again, like I don't even know who this guy was, but it's this person that I know on Facebook.
she ain't gonna
Right?
fuck you, dude.
Well, yeah, well, there's that, but that's something different. I was gonna allude to there's other one. This woman, asked kind of, I don't know, tongue in cheekly, like, oh, should women ever pay for the first date or some such, and of course you had all of these, all of her friends saying, all these women saying like, oh, like, if he doesn't pay on the first date, then there won't be a second date, or or what, It's like, well, if he's a real man, then of course he'll pay up for the first date.
Yeah,
And I in a very light trolling manner said like, well, if men and women are equal now, then a woman should, whether it's the first or the 100th date, a woman should be comfortable paying for the date. And all of a sudden, like, this guy
oh
comes
god,
out and like miladies, miladies for this woman, and I mean, and like goes off on like this screed about like, oh, like women used to have like so bad, back in the day, and blah 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 blah, and I just like kind of picked apart his reasoning with logic, until like the point where he's like he was basically like, it was so funny because he was like describing like losers, like because like the very close to the end of our interaction, he was like saying like, oh well, there's like women who go out with guys who don't even work and they play video games all day and they're the ones who support them, and it's like, yeah, that sounds like a goddamn loser.
Yeah.
Kind of like projecting a little bit, like me, like about like what his like, current status is or whatever.
Exactly. And like I said,
Yeah,
nothing wrong with playing games or just kind of all that stuff, but you can't be like a deadbeat at the same time. Like I'm not gonna have like my handicapped wife support me. That's lame.
right. I mean, again, like no shade to anyone who like whose wife does work, because like they're at a certain point where they just need to make ends meet or whatever, but yeah, and I mean, you and I are both of like more of a traditional mindset where it's like, we wouldn't. I mean, you don't want your wife to work, and if I had a wife, I wouldn't want her to work either.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean like I would stop her, like if it could genuinely help out the family. Until we got to a point where, or I got to a point where I was able to like fully support my wife and my family. But yeah, like I don't go out looking to debate people, but I will debate. I will finish debates, and also I will leave the field if I will like resheath my sword and exit the field if I don't feel like it will be productive. And again, and that would allude to what you were talking about in the beginning, uh, or referencing the interaction that I had, after I, simply commented on a friend of mine's Facebook post, and then again, it's always these fucking beta ass males who come out like milady, you know, and again, it was like the mask, and I was like, oh, because she was like saying how it was like she felt very unsafe with like all these people out in public, not in a confined area, but out in about like the free air. It's like, oh, like these people not wearing masks. It's like, well, I think, people just making, risk assessments for themselves, and they're taking on risks, and I don't think they're intending to infect people, whether they know it or not. But then again, like all these people, like I got dogpiled, just lightly pushing back, and then and initially I was trying to write these very logical responses to what they were saying, but then it came to me, it's like these people aren't operating from a point of logic. It's all emotion. It's just like, oh well, you're an idiot and da da da, and you have a right to you think you have a right to harm people and da 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 da. It's like all just like emotion, and so it was like I saw that and I was just like, or I had like my hand on my sword ready to go, but and it's like, you know what, it's not worth it, and so I just left the field. I did,
I
and I didn't respond back to them, and a part of me wanted to. I wish I had gone back and just did like scorched earth and just like, you know what, guys, she's never gonna touch your dick because this friend was this friend was a woman, and I just want, and then like again, it was like all guys coming out after me, and I just wanted to go like, you know what, guys, she's never gonna touch your dick.
we call those guys OnlyFans subscribers.
Exactly, just like she's never gonna touch your dick. All right, so you could just cool it, and I wish I would have gone out like that, but
Well, and actually, the one
but again, like
crazy.
I'm not like super. Despite impressions, I'm not a really big debate guy.
And same here. Like the one time I had like a really just I was having fun, but it was just like I was getting upset, and I'm pretty sure a lot of these pedophile friendly people were getting upset because this is right around that Michael Jackson documentary came out, like about
Mm-hmm.
how he was a child molester. It's like, yeah, duh. I mean, like, where have you guys been? It's like, no, Michael Jackson is like, I'm not talking about his music. Yeah, his music's amazing. He's very talented, but he's also a child molester. It's kind of like this. It's funny how the whole thing, like Bill Cosby, evil bastard. You know, and it's like, yeah, you loved him up until the time you found out that he was a rapist, which is like, you know, okay, you know, but then like whatever the reason, people still fucking love Michael Jackson. It's like, yeah, but he raped kids. No, he didn't.
No, man, he made Thriller. He made Thriller.
It's like, dude, yeah, he made a great song. I love Thriller.
Yeah,
I like
he made a great. Yeah, he he made a great album. All right, no one's debating that. But he diddled kids.
Yeah, but he fucked it. Not. It wasn't like a one. I was like, oh, he didn't just stumble in. Oh, I'm sorry, I touched a little kid and bet you one time. No, he had a sex dungeon in his house.
Yeah, I mean, people gloss over that, but like they found like that secret room full of like memorabilia, you know, or like trophies or what, or of his like various conquests or whatever. You know, there was like that one the one part of like that secret room that was like devoted like Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, fucking weird. But that was the one time it was like, this is how I know that like pedophilia it's gonna become it's just
it's already here, dude. It's already here.
It's here. It's happening.
It's here. Which I mean, yeah.
It's another letter in the alphabet soup that is the LBGT lobby.
Yeah, the LGBT MOUSC.
I don't now. Here the question is, you're gonna choose P or M, you know, for pedophile or for maps, you know, whatever the fuck that they want to call them.
I don't know. They might just go. They just might be brazen enough to just go with the P for pedophile.
God.
They just might be. They just might be brazen enough.
That TED Talk, you know, pretty much explains it all.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, let's what is it? Let's celebrate the what is it? The non-aggressing pedophile. It's like, yeah, he has those urges, but he doesn't act on them. It's like, go fuck yourself.
But yeah, so you know, I look
it's like those are the types of people that you know, it's like, you know, I want to introduce them to my millstone guy, you know.
Yeah. You and I have a little bit of a different idea on how we should deal with them, but you
know, but see, mine is biblical. Mine at least is biblical.
Biblical on them. I'm going.
Mine is at least biblical, and is the prescribed solution by our Lord and Savior.
You're right. I'm going law-abiding citizen on them, but you know that's like, but it serves the same purpose. But yeah, you're probably more correct.
Right? You know, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I'm doing my part too. I'm sending the offender to meet his meet his justice.
I'm also for annoying the shit out of pedophiles that are on the sex offender list that are in the neighborhood. You know, honking the horn.
Yeah. Although I don't know, like maybe it's just because there was like that thing where it's like like, oh, if you look on the pedophile map, you'll be surprised at how many like people are on the sex offenders list. But not everyone is, like to the level of like a kid diddler.
No.
Maybe no, let me finish. But perhaps that's a psyop to soften, or to instill like sympathy or engender sympathy for some people. But
that 80% are pedophiles,
which I'm now starting to come around to, because especially in light of like the last half decade. Just in our own backyard, there's like that bust of like 400 child traffickers or whatever in LA.
Yeah, it's here, it's happening.
Yeah, it's among us.
It's right? Almost it is among us. Where like we don't have the resources or the power to do anything about it. It's here. It's like I remember hearing about through a lot of my time dealing with missionaries and stuff, and like people who go over Thailand and Singapore and talking about some of the crap that's happening over there. Mm-hmm. It's the same stuff is happening here. And
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just some of yeah. In Thailand, it's a little bit more like just out there. Like I remember, there's like this one,
there's no
mission,
shame, at least.
yeah, or and there's even a level of complicity from the parents. Um, but yeah, this one missionary that my church works with, like he would tell us about like like the streets of like Bangkok and stuff like that, and how like if you see a mother bathing her child just like out on the street, that is a sign to pedophiles. It's like yes, basically
Which is
this child is available,
yeah,
and
which is horrible in its own right. Like to the fact like where everyone is complicit and there's no shame in it.
mhm.
That's evil in its own way. But the fact that like it's happening here, like it's obviously like kind of like you're trying to hide it under the rock, sweep it under the rug, but it's happening here just as bad as it's happening over there. So
Yeah.
don't think that it's
Right,
not
right,
under
right. We're not.
control.
Yeah, like Thailand is no more worse than we are here in America. America is just better. Is just more. Is better at hiding it. But I mean, this kind of works in a very nice way of segueing into the Disney stuff. But yeah, I mean, like that's like the whole thing about Disney and. They're not so secret gay agenda and and injecting gender theory and queer theory into all of their shit, which has prompted the state of Florida to act. And I think it, and again,
Yeah, speaking
I
of
don't,
pedophiles,
yeah. Speaking of pedophiles, but I wouldn't necessarily root for the government, interfering with private business. But in this case, in this highly specific case, I am all for it, because it's gonna hurt Disney, and even more so than people no longer buy going to their theme parks or buying their consuming their products. This will actually, I think, do more than just than your run of the mill boycott. And I'm for it. As much as I don't want government to interfere with private business at all, I'm happy this happened. And I think if Robert was here, he'd agree with me. But yeah, just a few days ago, Florida passed a resolution, to remove special exemptions and privileges of self-governing governance, uh, from the Walt Disney Company. And so now Disney will be treated like any other business in the state of Florida.
yeah, because I know when we started talking about that, like you were a little hesitant about like you're like yeah don't kind of like rooting for the government, which I totally agree with. And had they created like some special law just to target Disney, that's foul play. I would be against that. But what is good about this, it's not like that they're doing anything like specifics. Like you know, one thing it's just treating them like any other business would be treated. It's like okay, the special privileges you've had, we're just not gonna abide by those anymore. You're gonna have to deal with the same restrictions, the same taxes that any other corporation in our state have to deal with. And yeah, that's gonna hurt you. But you injected yourself into this, and let's be honest. Disney is not just Mickey Mouse and Disney World and all that stuff. Like they own AC, ESPN. They own a lot of things, and they have injected.
Yeah, all the things you love, it's a safe bet that Disney owns it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like because they are Disney is in media, and media has been obviously ABC is in bed with the government already to begin with.
Hmm.
It's definitely leaning more towards the left, and a lot of not only have that the have people within that company donated to a lot of these leftist leftist politicians. The corporation itself has done the same thing. It's just a giant lobby. And I'm not saying that Disney shouldn't utilize power to to lobby for the things that they're like, hey, you know it is their right to to use their voice to talk to the government. But the thing is, they are there's too much of a they are trying to enact laws and everything, not for their favor, but they are trying to manipulate the government. And they decided to inject the to not necessarily manipulate the government, but they're manipulating the people against something that they're not, they're getting their grubby hands where they don't belong. And it's like, okay, if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna play dirty fool like that, well, we're just gonna treat you like every other corporation, and you can deal with that, okay? And I'm a-okay with that, because on our side of the aisle, I'm done with the whole losing with dignity aspect. That's something that their side of the
Right.
aisle has done uh, for decades.
Yeah, which is
And
why I'm not. That's which is why I'm not a Republican, because I still have my balls, and
yeah,
so and that's why I'm not a Democrat, because I still have my soul.
yeah.
But
Well, hey, that is a great way to put that. I like that. And that well,
right,
and like I said, were they what if it was something they were creating a special Disney law to just attack Disney and kind of attack them in a way that's not fair? That's okay, no, that's where we're I'd be like, no, can't do that. I'm against that. I don't like what Disney stands for. I don't like what they do, but no, you can't do that either. But this is it's just repealing the special privileges. Fuck them. And honestly, I hope it costs them a lot of money. And honestly, if they yeah, okay, fine, whatever. You know what? Hey, if they're willing to put their money where their mouth is, I can kind of sort of respect that. Oh, hey, you're just diving into okay, I don't care. We stand by what we're saying. But more or less, what's gonna happen is that after billions of dollars in taxes, where it does end up hurting them in the long run, it's fuck, we should. Why don't we just not play this game? But I don't think as long as someone like DeSantis is in office, they're never getting that back. That's never going to happen again.
right, and I just lost my train of thought. Oh god, I just completely lost my train of thought. How does that happen?
Well, because what I was saying, because I was saying I don't think that they're gonna get it's now it's not gonna happen till next year. These this the
Yeah,
retract.
the rescinding of privileges.
So I think there is going to be some challenge to it, but to me, it doesn't feel like there's anything that is really challengeable. It's not against the law of the land. Like I said, it's not a special law specifically targeting Disney. It's just retracting their special privileges that no other corporation has.
Right. Yeah, and that's what has brought me over, to cheer this move by the Florida government, because yeah, like you said, it's not as though it's attacking everyone in media. It's just attacking Disney. And
Yeah.
it's a what is it? It's a scalpel, not a sledgehammer, and that's what I appreciate and that's what I've come to appreciate. It's not because it's not as though it's gonna affect liquor store owners.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's just Disney. And as long as government can do that, like they could be like that pinpoint accurate, um, then I'm for it. And especially in this case, because yeah, it's Disney trying to flex its overdeveloped political muscle, in a on an issue that really doesn't concern them, or they're reaching too far into a specific issue.
Well, and like you said, and we're like, why I know like a lot of this is BS too, because you have a lot of these people are like from the media who are trying to like, oh, how can you go against Disney? How can you go against like, yeah, like, oh, this mean, like this mean politician targeting Disney? It's like, what the yet like at the same time they're bitching about like Elon Musk buying Twitter. It's like another, Disney is not gonna. They're a nearly $1 trillion company. Like, they're fine. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you bankrupted a bunch of people with your stupid COVID laws. With that hat, yet you call them like one percenters, and like they're the most evil people in the world. Yet you protect people like Disney, which are trying to own the world. And I don't get it's like I said, when you have your eyes open and you see you can the spells don't work anymore, and I see all the dumb arguments that the media makes, and it's like it's a joke. But unfortunately, people still buy into it. But for me, it's a fucking joke. Like how the media deals with this stuff. It's almost laughable. It wasn't so serious.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is it? Another example. I don't know if it's comparable, but I just was reminded that how just recently that federal judge crushed the mask mandate for travel, um, and which means that it's not as though the judge in question uh, made it illegal. She saw the evidence and determined that it was always illegal.
Yeah.
And so kind of similar, kind of uh, in a way, it's kind of the same. That's all that Florida has done. It's like, oh, Disney is benefiting off these privileges, uh, and so like it's not that they said that they're illegal. It's just like Disney is no longer. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Well, I know, like in some ways, like, well, in Florida, like Disney World is essentially its own city, and so
Right.
they have their own police, their own fire department, their own sanitation, their own uh kind of like maintenance workers, roads, sewers, stuff like that, which unlike the rest of the state, because and this is something that like
Okay.
I've
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I'm gonna let you finish, but my point was
and
like
so and but
they were
unlike
acting, because they were acting like a city and not like they were acting like a city state essentially, and not a business.
yeah,
So
exactly.
what Florida is essentially doing is like, it's like, no, you guys are a business and you've always been a business, so we're gonna start treating you like a business.
Yeah, it's not like the city of Disney World. That's not how it works.
Hmm.
You're because they're in Orlando, I believe, correct?
Yeah, and then again, like kind of like even more locally, like I think the land that Disney is on, or Disney World is on, is in two different counties.
Yeah, and so and that's where like because I know Florida is probably different in a way, and so I hope some of you from Florida will comment on this, but I know how it works here in California.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like our individual like like little neighborhoods. Like so I'm in Van Nuys, you're in Chatsworth, uh, and it's not like our own like little districts. I think that would be better if our districts worked more locally. Like, hey, we have the money, let's fix our roads, let's fix this, let's do this, and it just focuses on our like little area. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
Northridge has its own issues that
Mm-hmm.
they're dealing with, but unfortunately, what happens? We have Caltrans. Caltrans is garbage. It's a useless organization
Right.
that
It's a top down bureaucratic nightmare.
that's where like the state it's like this. It's centrally run from Sacramento. It's awful. It sucks. Um our lovable Santa Claus, his road that he lives on just got repaired. You know the last time that road had been repaired, 1948,
Holy shit.
and the road got repaired this year.
Wow.
1948.
Wow. Well, yeah, and I realized that because maybe like smaller residential streets don't get the attention very often, but no, but hearing that's fucking insane.
But here's the thing: if let's say somebody in that neighborhood had the equipment and know-how and they repaved the road themselves, they would get arrested and fined.
Right. No.
That's
Exactly. Yeah. I think I've argued this myself too, because like yeah, like we like everything should be as local as possible, even down to like just like people like within your own neighborhood.
yeah. Well,
And
and the other thing,
if like you and your neighbors are able to source or kind of pool your resources together and like fund like yeah, so have like pay for the repaving yourself, then it's all the better, you
I
know.
1000%, I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. Fuck it. Let's get our roads repaired. Awesome. And instead of having the city do it, why don't we clean our streets? We don't need a street sweeper. We don't need these stupid parking. The have the guy that doesn't hardly come, but we get tickets anyhow for some stupid reason.
Right, the
Why
street,
why
the
don't we
yeah,
just
the
do it
street signs that
ourselves?
says no parking on such and such date, because that's when the street sweeper comes by.
Our
um
street sweeper has not been here in 2.5 years. But we still get tickets if we park on those sections at that time.
yeah, on those days where you're not supposed to. That bring yeah, what you just said just bring reminded me of a this past weekend I went out for my church's homeless ministry, outreach ministry, and we got to this one place, um, and there was this man, who lived on the street, and he was cleaning the street that he sleeps on. He got himself like a little rake thing, and he got himself, he was able to scrounge himself some trash bags, and he was cleaning the street that he was on, and he was demonstrating a level of pride in where he lived, more so uh, than the neighborhood that lived or that occupied it.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I was astounded, a little bit, because of the kind of the degradation that's been happening to our city for the past like decade or so. And and here's this guy who's living on the street. He doesn't even have a solid claim to the area that he's sleeping in, that he lives in, but he is still taking the pride, upon himself to make that area as livable as possible, as clean as possible. And it's just like,
Yeah,
if that guy who doesn't have a legitimate claim to that neighborhood can put forth the effort to keep it clean, then why the hell shouldn't we take the same responsibility?
I honestly like if I hate the way that a lot of our streets look, and it's just like, my God, we look it just it's dirty, it's gross. People throw everything everywhere. I hate it. And like I said, I'm no environmentalist, but like I'm all for like, hey, let's not just throw our garbage wherever we want. Let's throw our garbage away. Let's recycle our cans and our glass bottles. Let's do all that. I'm all for that. Let's plant more trees. Let's make things look nice. Let's take yeah, we might not like where we live, but like we can everyone's like bitching about like, oh, we live in a shitty neighborhood. It's like, well, you know what? You have to take pride in where you live. You can still make a place look nice. Van Nuys is not exactly the nicest, cleanest area, but like I think if we all as a collective unit, like, hey, you know what? Why don't we clean up our the city's not going to do it. We have to do it ourselves. Let's clean it up. Let's pool our
Yeah,
resources.
and yeah, and that's why that's why what is it? The left and like Democrat politicians hate this guy Scott Pressler because if you guys aren't familiar, he's the guy that decided upon himself that he was just gonna start cleaning up neighborhoods on his own dime practically. I mean, I'm sure he crowdsourced, but yeah, he paid for uh, you know dump trucks and things like that, and he got like volunteers from to come up and clean neighborhoods that were just like god awful that the city just you know let let go to let to go to shit. And he went into Baltimore. He went into South Central Los Angeles. He goes like to all of like the really poorly managed areas of a city, and he cleans that shit up. Like he did a cleanup of like the railroads after here in LA where the people were like stealing Amazon packages.
Yep. Yeah. Oh God, what a disaster that was.
Seriously.
But it's honestly, if that was something where if I had the fun, like you kind of like an unlimited resources, yeah, that I wouldn't be buying like Twitter or anything like that. I'd be doing that. I'd be cleaning up, my city, and I'd be cleaning up these other, you know, terrible cities. Like I'd going into Detroit, Flint, Baltimore, Los Angeles, Skid Row, New York City. I'd be cleaning those places up. It's like, hey, the city's not going to do this for you. Why don't why hey, this building looks dilapidated. People are living there. Why don't we make it look nice? Why don't you Why don't you have some? Why don't I help give you some dignity? And that's what it is. Like you're cleaning up like where you live, and because I don't live in like the best neighborhood, but I'm not throwing trash wherever I want either. Like I'm not. I don't want to contribute to that. Like I do take I take pride in where I live. It's not the best place, but at the same time, it's where I live. So I'm not gonna just shit like next to where I live.
Right, and yeah, and I mean, I live in a nicer part of the valley, but yeah, even where I live, is starting to go a little downhill. I mean, let alone from like the homelessness, because I live in a part where it's like residential, and then like literally across the street, it's like industrial like plazas. Um, but my morning route when I go running. Uh, it goes into this neighborhood with my old middle school actually that I used to attend as a kid. But yeah, there's like people who don't even pick up after their dogs, and like I'm talking like big dogs too, like the big breeds with like the human
That
sized poop, and it's
drives
just
me
like
fucking
and it's
crazy.
so and it's like yeah, it's like motherfucker, like that's your dog. If you want, if your dog just shits on your lawn and it stays on your lawn, fine, I don't care. But if you like, and especially like, cause like their dogs are like shitting on like this on the sidewalk, that's where people walk. If the dog went and shat in the middle of the street, that'd be gross, but at least like it's on the street where not a lot of people, walk. But this is the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, got a bit away from
But
the
that
main
but
topic, but the
going like
principle still stands.
that's the special privilege. One of the big special privileges that Disney has, where they're functioning like their own city, which
Hmm.
is like no, that they're not a
Yeah. Well,
city.
yeah, they're acting as a city state.
Yeah, they're
Um,
not the Vatican. You know,
mhm.
they don't, and so you're gonna have to face the same regulations that everyone else has to face.
Hmm.
Maybe those
Right. So yeah,
regulations, I don't know.
and that's why Disney is able to just like build like attractions and and roller coasters willy nilly. Because if let's say like you're another business, like let's say you were a restaurant and you wanted to expand and build like an outdoor patio area, dude, you'd have to go through the county and the city and get approval and submit plans and then get those plans like approved and go through like have to put in like environmental impact study that you'd have to pay for out of your own pocket, and then it might take you like 7 years for your little patio expansion to be approved. But Disney, oh, they say like, you know what? I feel like we need to build another attraction here. Boom, done. No, don't have to go through any regulatory bodies or approval processes. Nothing.
Now they're gonna have to go through the same pain in the ass process. Now,
Exactly.
that pain in the ass process, is that bullshit? Absolutely, but that's what everyone
But
else
they
has
have
to
to.
deal with.
They now have to go through it,
I am all for it.
right? And then yeah, and if that opens the eyes of Disney and making and bringing them over to our side, saying less government intervention,
Because
less government control, then so
since
much the
Disney
better.
World is open, they have never had to deal with that. And
Mm.
because Walt Disney was not he was not a dumb guy, and he wasn't for all the knock against Walt Disney, no, he was not a Nazi sympathizer. He was not anti-Semitic. It's actually really like not true. Although that's what gets labeled on him.
Right.
Um, and best part is he wasn't a fucking child groomer. He wasn't trying to you know uh,
Yeah, there's some
sexualize.
stuff that I've been hearing about Walt Disney that's like, that's kind of like been changing my mind about it. Like even like what is it? Like he testified, in the McCarthy hearings, like talking about like yes, like the communists are, infiltrating through the entertainment industry.
That's why he got labeled that way,
Yeah, yeah,
because
exactly. Yeah.
that's why he got labeled a a Nazi anti-Semitic sympathizer. That's why he got labeled that way, because he came out against the
The
communists that
communists,
were
yeah.
infiltrating our government and whatnot. And at the time, a lot the government was like, "Hey, this guy is on our side, and he's doing is pro family. You know, he's doing stuff for kids. We're gonna help him. We're gonna give
Yeah, I
his."
mean, dude, imagine if Walt Disney came back to life and saw like what has happened to
Oh,
his company.
he'd have a
he
heart attack
would
and die.
he would bust at Jesus and start flipping, like kind of like the temple scene, like flipping tables over. That's what he'd be doing. Like I mean,
Yeah,
just think about it. Like the last time I went to Disneyland was maybe 15, 20 years ago, right? And back then it was
yeah,
I could still afford it, right? It was like
yeah.
but now it's like $200 and you're not and that's just like parking essentially, you
Oh,
know.
and like I said, he'd have a heart attack looking at like the prices of what it takes to get into his park. That was never his intention.
Right, yeah, he created like his whole idea of Disneyland was for families to have like an inexpensive, day uh, to spend together and and enjoy each other's company in a fully immersive kind of environment.
And here's the thing: Disney makes the amount of money. They don't need to make that park that expensive. They don't.
Oh no, exactly. They don't. Like I mean, because like all this money that they've been making for like off their movies and things like that. I mean, yeah, I know, and like a lot of like their straight to video stuff. That's like a bulk of like that's a huge market, or
Oh,
before DVDs and videos became passe. But yeah, like their whole thing, they made a shit ton of content that went straight to video. Like the whole like Mary Kay and Ashley stuff that just went straight to video. That was a huge market that they made shit tons of money off. And so like yeah,
Yeah,
there's no reason. I mean yeah, like you could say oh well inflation and blah 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 blah. It's like but yeah, but they don't have to make it like $200 just for the like admissions ticket, and then plus like another like $50 for like parking, and then like another, and then like the food there, like like you practically it's like another like $150 right there. So like and that's like just maybe for like one person. Like if you're talking about a family, it's like game over. You have
yeah,
to like
exactly.
you have to take out a small personal loan just to go to Disneyland.
Yeah, it's just because I would like to go. I would like to go to Disney World, but or Disneyland. I haven't been in a while, but I can't afford that shit. Fuck no. And it's crazy people that buy like those season passes and like they're going every weekend. Like that's just insane to me. Um, and like back in the day, like when I used to go, like when I did go, I'm like even as like me as as in high school, I could afford that, and I
Yeah,
mean I enjoyed it. I can't afford that now. God,
yeah, no,
that's
exactly. I mean, that's how I know like when the last time I went to Disneyland was, because it was like right after like kind of like after high school. Yeah, that was like 20 years ago. Yeah,
yeah.
this year, actually, some of my old classmates, they're actually trying to put on a 20th high school reunion. Um, and so yeah, this would be the 20th year, and that was the last time I went to Disneyland. I remember specifically. So yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think the
Disney
last
now
time I went was
has.
like 2006. I think that was the last time I went.
Mm,
No, maybe
yeah, so
no.
yeah, it's been
You
a
know
while.
what? No, I take that back. The last time I went, I think was 2003. God, fuck, dude. That's
Yeah, so
long.
about the same time as me,
God, that's a long ass time ago.
right? But yeah, the House of Mouse is crumbling, and it's it could have been avoided. It could have been avoided, but
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
and yeah, and partially why um, it's falling is because because the contributing factor is also because Bob Chapek is a dickless idiot. Because he was specifically installed because he wasn't like because he came up like in the entertainment like in not in the entertainment side but in the park side. So he was he managed like a lot of like or was a team leader and stuff like in the parks department. So he was all about like making profits and whatever. Uh, and even like he even had like the backing of like one of like the members of the board, Susan Arnold, um, who like a lot of good board members is concerned about profits and not about message.
Right, right.
But yeah, because Bob Chapek bent the knee, and put out that ridiculous hostage video. Um,
It's
you know,
so bad, so bad.
so and that's partially why the state of Florida rescinded their special privileges.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just bad.
Yeah, I mean Bob Chapek just went out like to all those blue-haired freaks like fuck you guys, get back to work, or you're
That's what he should
fired.
have done.
That's what he should have done. It's like you're threatening me, you're fired. Get
And,
out of here. Get out of here.
and if he did, it'd be over.
Yeah, and then it'd be over.
Everything would be fine.
Hmm. Right. So because of weak leadership, uh, you know that is what is wrought. That is what is wrought of weak leadership.
Yep.
And I'm, uh, and I think we're all learning that lesson right now. Disney's learning that. I think your average American or actually, your average non-brain dead American is learning that.
And the thing is, like, don't get me wrong, like, there are aspects of Disney that I think are fine. You know, I do, like I said, I do like a lot of the Marvel stuff. I do like a lot of their classic stuff. Um, but at the same time, I don't like the people that are in that company, you know, that who have been coming out and like, oh, I have a not so secret gay agenda. Of course, I want like gay shit and you know, gay stuff in these movies, and it's like this is
Yeah,
stuff
you
for
know, and like
kids.
that one like and that one executive's like, well, as a mother of a pansexual jalopy identifying,
Which doesn't exist. That's not
which
true.
doesn't
It's
exist,
all
and like
bullshit.
it's like, and you're basically admitting that you're a horrible parent and you abuse your children. You know, yeah, all these people are revealing themselves, and they don't even realize it. They think that's like, oh, like yeah, everyone is for the things that I'm for. It's like, no, we're not, bitch.
Yeah, it's just like I listen to these people's like you're horrible. These people are horrible, and even like Abigail Disney, who did not who is the heiress of you know the Disney Empire,
Mm-hmm.
who has done nothing. She's created nothing. Yet you know for some reason like you know people are like oh you know because she has Disney at the end of her name. You know it's you all of a sudden like you're the voice.
Right, yeah, your words somehow carry some sort of weight,
It's all bull.
even though literally did not contribute to anything that you are now uh, I guess inherited. Yeah, yeah, inherited. You did not contribute to anything that you inherited, and you only are entitled because of your last name.
Yeah. It's just she's awful and just oh and like then you have like all these people. Yeah, I have a pansexual you know child and a transsexual child. It's like oh wow, this like very rare thing just it happened to happen twice in your family. Really? Okay.
Exactly, and just like the overrepresentation, that's like that's what's bullshit. Because like even like before when like the whole like the gay thing was being pushed out, and there was like a survey that was put out, and what like 20 like what was it? Majority of Americans think that 25% of Americans are gay when it's like not even 1%.
It's I know everything is gay. It's like there's so much gay stuff on like movies and TV. Like there's that new Netflix thing, like the you know my husband's expecting or something or whatever. Like I'm like what?
Right. Well, yeah, yeah, but yeah, just really technical thing. It's it is a Japanese property, but yeah, everything is gay or trans or whatever. It's like overrepresentation, and that's how you get people thinking that like 25% of Americans are gay. Now it's gonna be 25% of Americans are transgender. It's like no, it's not. It's like not even 1%. So yeah, so we're overrepresenting people that only make up 1%. And I'm not saying that you can never have a gay person or you can never have a trans character. It's just like you can't you know there shouldn't be always a character a trans character.
I don't. And the thing is, like, I don't. I really don't care about that either. It's like, hey, if you want to make your gay movie, go for it. Like, I've never watched it, but I know Brokeback Mountain was a huge success. It
Right? Yeah,
maybe there'll be
exactly.
one day why I watch it. I don't know. I like the actors that are involved, but I'm like, I have not pulled the trigger on that one. We watch. I talk about this constantly, but we did Predestination. That is a transgender film. You know, no ifs ands or buts about it.
Oh yeah, 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 exactly. That's yeah,
It
and
is all about
that's a transgender wish fulfillment movie.
that is
Because
a
like
film.
yeah, because I mean, spoil alerts. Ethan Hawke, he plays essentially a transgender person. But again, it's wish fulfillment because he gets the surgery. You know, even though initially he doesn't get like the really good surgery where he still like kind of isn't. The character is kind of still androgynous and like it's like more still like of a woman. But then it's like later, in the movie where he gets like the really good one, and that character who started off as more of like a hermaphrodite, and then is forced to become a man, gets like the really good surgery to where he looks like Ethan Hawke.
Yeah,
But then again, that's like the wish fulfillment. It's like, oh, I'll just get the surgery and I'll totally live. I can totally pass. It's like, no,
but
not everyone gets not everyone gets hits the jackpot on that surgery lottery, because it's like, look at Caitlyn Jenner. It's like,
God. It's just so...
yeah, I know. For you, it's Bruce, but it's like, yeah, but take a look at Caitlyn Jenner. He is a man, and like, there's no amount of surgery, there's no amount of lip fillers or cheek fillers or lip, injections,
You want
or
to know
however long he grows his hair. It's like he cannot pass as a woman.
Yeah, he went all Buffalo Bill on us.
Right? He's like, would you fuck me? I'd fuck me.
I'd fuck me. God, I love that movie. It's so good.
Yeah.
Gordon Bernstein, like, oh god, he's so great in that role. It's just I feel
wait, who?
he's so good in it.
Who?
Corbin Bernstein, who played Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, that's right.
God, he's so good in that role. He's so fucking good.
Yeah. Oh, was she a great big fat person?
Oh god.
All right. Okay, I think this is a great place to transition.
That's all I had to say about Disney. Like, it's good. I'm glad. I'm glad this is happening. This is good. This is good news. This is our side of the aisle that's finally wielding the power that it has and using it.
Right, because yeah, I mean, I know the left wants to think that everyone thinks like them, but it's not. People, your average American thinks like us. All right, we think transgenderism is crazy. We think that trying to sexualize 5-year-olds is evil. And yeah, we are the majority, and we are slowly but surely are becoming the not so quiet majority.
I'm liking it.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
My veins.
Yes, and hopefully that attitude and that sentiment can lead to change in this next story or next topic for discussion, and that is the passing of AB 223 here in California. For those of you who are unaware, that's basically the abortion bill that allows for, let's just call it for what it is. It's not even abortion; it's murder of your child up to 7 days after it's born.
This makes Ralph Northam look like a pro-lifer. That's how bad this is.
Yeah, that's how bad this is. Yeah, because I mean, for those of you unaware, there's a clip of Ralph Northam when he was still governor, I believe, of Virginia, or was it was an election year? I'm not 100% sure on that.
He was still governor at the time when he made
that statement. Okay, so Governor Ralph Northam of Virginia was on this like NPR style, but I think more locally to Virginia style radio show. And he basically said like, oh yeah, we'll like the baby will be born, and the mother and the doctor will have discussion, and if the mother wants, we'll abort the baby. Wait, not to forget, it's like after we resuscitate the baby, then we'll have a discussion.
Make the baby comfortable.
And then the mother and the doctor will have discussion.
We did that. God, this is probably a couple years ago at this point now, because I think this is 2019 when we talked about the film Gosnell.
Mm-hmm.
This is essentially creating more Gosnells. It's legally
Yeah, or
making.
at least legally sanctioning God's no. Yeah, for those of you unaware, Hermit Gosnell was this monster in
Serial
Philadelphia,
killer.
monster serial killer out in Philadelphia, and he ran like this underground abortion clinic where he in he didn't and he didn't follow proper like sanitation standards, and he basically allowed unregistered like nurses to like administer drugs, and he was committing murder, like full out murder on babies, because he was doing like partial birth abortions, and even like after birth abortions, which are, let's just call it for what it is. It's a murder. Um, but now here in California, we are sanctioning that, and we codified it into law.
It's stuff like this that, like, I almost want to move to Oklahoma. I mean, Oklahoma just they're trying to pass something where it's like essentially makes any sort of abortion in any way illegal, which honestly, like, there's nothing in Oklahoma for me, but fuck it, I'll go there. I don't want to live in a state where we're essentially creating an industry of Kermit Gosnells.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think that we're crazy, like, I urge you to watch the movie Gosnell that came out, I think 2 years ago now, 3 years ago.
A little bit more like, I think maybe more like 4.
Was it 4? God,
Yeah, it was
I
definitely
feel
pre-pandemic, and I remember. No, we watch it together?
we did watch it together. We went to the
Oh.
theaters to support it.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll watch it. It's like, no, this didn't happen. But no,
Yeah,
they're
at the end of the movie, they show like the crime scene
real.
pictures that the police took, and like they showed, like they compared it to like the how they did the set dressing and design and the pictures, and it's like 1-to-1.
Because even one of the stars of the movie, the hell's his name? The Superman,
Dean Cain.
Dean Cain, who was in the movie. He's like, there's no way that this is real. And they showed him, no, dude, no, it's real. They showed him all like the videos that were taken, all the photos, and he's like, holy shit, I can't believe that this is real. He was like, he thought it was just like, no,
Right, like because Dean Cain is a Hollywood guy, and he just thought that they were exaggerating.
Yeah, like, we're punching it up a little bit for for the movie. It's like, fuck no, we're not. This, you want to see the pictures, and he was blown away. And it's this all that movie is as close to the real story as we'll ever get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
even to the point. Well, I think it was pretty successfully. The story was successfully squashed. But yeah, they in the movie they discussed that, where like, the prosecution, they were like, the DA for that area was saying like, oh, get ready for the media circus, and get ready for like cameras to be in your face all the time, and prepare for like all these like really harsh questions, and like people like digging into your past. But like the day of the trial, like nobody was there.
yeah, it's like, it's like John Travolta and, like, Pulp Fiction, like it just
Yeah. The meme is like, yeah, it's like looking around, it's like, where's everybody?
yeah.
That's what it was. Like, yeah, literally happened in real life. Like no media was covering this story because
Nope, not
it
at
went
all.
against the message.
But yeah, just really disgusting stuff. We have essentially legalized Kermit Godsnells all over California. It's they're. I mean, it's like up. I looked at the thing. It's like is it up to like it's like from like a week to like 28 days after birth.
Something like that, yeah. Like
It's
it's like,
crazy. 28 days after birth.
yeah. I mean, they're basically providing the equivalent of CNN Plus trial subscriptions to
That's a
babies.
month after birth. Are you fucking crazy? Oh my god! It just
Yeah, I mean, it's not funny, but what is it? I think South Park kind of predicted it. When that arc when they're trying to figure out who Cartman's dad was.
dude. Yeah.
And then like Cartman's mom, was going around sleeping with every government official that she could talk up all the way up until the president, which at the time was Bill Clinton. Um, and was saying like, "Oh yeah, Mr. President, yeah, I want to get a abortion." And then, you know, she's like, and he asked her like, "Oh, well, how far along are you?" "Oh, well, he's 8 months." It's like, "No, he's 8 years old." It's like, what? Like, kind of like the retroactive abortion. It's just like,
Yeah.
in a weird way, South Park called that shit.
Yep. It did. Once again, South Park, Simpsons, Futurama, King of the Hill, all very pertinent to the future. Like they just called it.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, like, now thinking about it, my only gripe about Hank Hill is that he didn't have guns.
God, you're right. He didn't.
I mean, like, he did like use guns. Like, there was like that one episode where, he and Bobby really got into like competitive like sports shooting, like target shooting, and that's really, and like
now
or like when all the boys in the neighborhood were going off to go hunting, and it was like a rite of passage, and that was like the only time like they really like handled guns.
you're right. You're right. But that's it. Like that's the only like bad.
Yeah, that's like the only knock I would give on like the character of Hank Hill. Although, like, generally speaking, I do really like the morals or principles that Hank Hill like embodies.
The only thing that I hate is that I never really watched that show when it was on the air.
Mm-hmm.
But I watched the entire series after it ended,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, why did I never watch this? This is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it was so good. Like, so many conservative principles, and a lot of moral uh, or put forth a lot of conservative or even downright religious morals. Yeah, and it's and King of the Hill is like one of those sneaky shows that kind of like got in under the radar. Because I think what a lot of people, what a lot of like Hollywood types and critics thought it was doing was making fun of like the flyover state type, which Hank Hill is, because he lived in kind of like Midlands, Texas, uh, and he was Hank Hill was very conservative, and he was the like conservative archetype. He drove a truck. He drove a truck. He went to church. Um, he was all about football and like community. Um,
He was someone that like cared about his community. He was loyal. He was he didn't like he was trying to keep his son on the straight and narrow, and like knowing where like trying to direct him on a path that was going to lead him to success, like
Mm-hmm.
in whatever he decided to do. But it's like, hey,
Right.
you know,
Right. Yeah. He tried to instill a good work ethic into his son. He looked after his wife's niece, like and took care of her like as if she was his own.
yeah,
Luann, Luann. Um, Hank Hill was Hank Hill was based.
he's one of my favorite characters of all time. Hank Hill might be my spirit animal, except for the flat ass. I don't have a diminished glute.
Diminished glutes.
Ah,
Yeah. I would. Yeah, I think at a certain point, Hank Hill would have been my spirit animal too. But I've become more of a Ron Swanson fan.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Ron Swanson. Yeah, because even though like he hates the government, he like still became part of the government to undermine it. And I can respect that level of commitment. So
yeah.
For me, Ron Swanson is my spirit animal.
And to be honest, I want more people in government that hate the government.
Exactly. I want more people in the government that want nothing to do with being part of the government. If nothing else than to just gum up the works, even more so than they already are gummed up, just because of the bureaucracy. But, more Ron Swansons in
Yeah,
government.
dude. It's funny because the guy that plays Ron Swanson is kind of, I would say, like, I wouldn't say he's a complete like leftist, but he's
Hmm.
kind of he's more on the left. But
Right. Yeah. Like. Oh God, what's his name?
I forget. I'm drawing a blank on his real name.
Right.
But he's married to Megan Mullally,
Uh.
who was on Grace and Will and
Will and
Grace.
Grace. Yeah.
And she's actually she's funny. She's kind of crazy too, but she's funny.
Hmm.
But yeah, he is not only is he a good comedian because he does stand up, he's funny.
Hmm.
And I, but yeah, that character is I just absolutely love that character.
Yeah. Ron
You know,
Swanson is an awesome character.
and the fact
But
and the thing
but yeah,
is,
the real life actor, he actually uh, is like a carpenter, is like a master craftsman.
he is he does all that stuff. He's
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah, he does woodworking in real life.
He talks about that in his stand-up. It's like I find solace in doing this. Like I like working with my hands. I think it's very soothing. And I'm like, that's great. I'm glad that he does that.
Right. Yeah. So I wouldn't even say that he. I don't know because I've never really heard him express like many like political views, but I'm happy that I haven't heard.
I know that he's like I definitely know he's not he's anti-Trump,
Hmm.
but like I said, I wouldn't say he's unhinged. He's kind of like somewhere he's definitely like more left leaning, but he's not a crazy person at the same time.
Right. So he's more closer to the center than he is to the extreme left.
Yeah, I would say that's true. And he even says like a lot of his like standards like he's married to Megan Mullally. He's like I am totally in love with this person. Like always talks about how like he loves his wife and he's enjoying his life and he likes working with his hands and he loves acting and he's just he seems like he's a guy I would want to have a drink with. So it kind of like similar to like Chris Evans.
Hmm.
I probably would never agree with them politically, but man, they are a cool person. I want to hang out with them.
Right. But Nick Offerman is.
Nick, yeah, thank you, Nick Offerman.
Mhm.
I knew it was like Offerhausen or
Yeah,
something along something
something like
along.
that. But yeah, I mean, the fact that I don't know like a lot of his like political stances, like hallelujah, you know. And I don't even and I don't even hate the guy that he's an he's anti-Trump. I don't even care.
No, because but here's the thing: he's not unhinged.
Right? He's not. Yeah, he's not. As long as like, he's not a Trump hater. You could be anti-Trump without being a hater.
Yeah, I mean, there's things about Trump that I don't like, but like there was a lot of stuff that I thought he did great at.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, and even now, I'm like, God, I'm a little torn, for 2024. Like, there's a few people where I'm like, I if it's Trump versus some other people, I'm not sure I'm voting for Trump this time, especially because of my thing with like the age. The age is a huge problem for me.
Right. I mean, yeah, because it's the same argument that we were or people on our side were making against Biden. It's like, oh, he's too old. He's too old. But like, yeah, now he's the same age as when Biden ran against him, and so it's like,
Yeah.
does
Now,
that
now
argument still hold up?
yeah. Now, is he more with it than Biden? Absolutely. But to keep consistent with my thing, is like I don't think I can vote for him. He's too fucking old.
Right. But if it did come down to him or Biden, then I'd vote for him.
Oh yeah, no, it's if it did come
But
down
yeah,
to
but
those.
let's just I'm just gonna say it right now. If someone other than Trump gets the nomination, then I'm probably gonna vote for them. If if they are of the people that I want. And right now, the only one in politics that I want running is God, Rand Paul.
Yeah,
Rand Paul. He's the like if he like in politics he's the only one that I want running for president.
if in the primary, if Rand Paul decided like I'm gonna run for president, I'm all in.
Yeah, I'm probably yeah. If I don't know because I'm registered as a non-affiliated voter, which is California version of independent. So I don't know if I'll be able to vote in the primary, the Republican primary. But if I am able to, then yeah, I'm voting for Rand Paul. And if Rand Paul decides that he's gonna run, then yeah, I'm voting for Rand Paul.
Yeah, I Rand Paul would be the guy that I would want in
Hmm.
president in the presidency, just because I think I don't agree with everything he says, but he tends to stand for more of the things that I agree with. He's
Right.
more.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, if I'm doing like pairings, I'd want Rand Paul for president, and then I want Thomas Massey for vice president.
Yep.
Yeah,
Dude,
Thomas Massey.
get out of my head. Get out of
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who don't know, Thomas Massey is a senator from, or is a congressman from Pennsylvania, and he was the only one who stood up against Trump, like over the CARES Act. And he's like, no, this is stupid. This will put us, this
Yep.
will cause inflation. And Trump said to like have to kick out, said to kick out Thomas Massey from the Republican Party, even though he was right, even though Thomas Massey was right. But for a ticket, I would so vote for Paul Massey.
Yeah. But yeah, it just and a lot of people that voted for the Baby Killer Act,
Mm-hmm.
that was passed in California,
Mm-hmm.
they're all for re-election. Fucking vote these people out.
Oh yeah, fuck those guys.
I don't have. I should have had their list of names.
Oh, if you want to look it up right now, go into our chat and you could. Uh,
let me pull that up real quick because I think we should name their names.
mm,
Because yeah, we need to vote these people out of office.
yeah, but you could click you could. I think the links of the post that I sent you with the names should be in our chat. So, but yeah, we gotta know. Yeah, we gotta know who these people are. We gotta vote them out. And as much as I, like again, like this is locally, so it's way more important than federally. So that's and that's really the only time I would encourage people to vote because it's local.
Shit.
Yeah, it's definitely earlier in the week.
Because we talked about this week, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, just give me 1 second. Ah, here we go. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So, these are some of the names that voted for this, and they're all up for re-election. We have Jim Wood, uh, Cecilia Aguirre Curry, Joaquin Arambula, Wendy Cirillo, Ryan Mayenshine, small hat, Kevin Hardy, Adrian Nazarian,
Yeah. Oh,
Lou,
not to be confused with Kevin McCarthy. It's Kevin
yeah,
McCarty.
who's also awful, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck Kevin McCarthy.
Luz Rivas, Freddie Rodriguez, Miguel Santiago, and Ash Kalra. These are all the people that voted for it who are up for re-election. So if you hate this, which you should, if you hate baby murder, these people are all up for re-election. Fucking vote them out.
Right. Yeah. And you're in California. And you hate baby
Yeah,
murder. Those are the people who voted in favor for the baby murder.
yeah. Let's get rid of these people. Fuck them. I honestly, I don't care whatever good that they're doing on their agenda, which I'm sure that it's zero. But these people need to be gone. So let's vote them out.
Yeah. Get him out of there.
But yeah, that's all I had to really say about that. It's just, and this is like something where if you're on the fence, I urge you to watch the Gosnell movie because that is super accurate. Um, that is super accurate, and it's scary. It's an unpleasant movie, but you're gonna get uh you're gonna get a lot of information from that movie. There's a lot of like great pro life causes that it's not they're not bombing these abortion clinics. They're not trying to assassinate the abortion doctors. They just want to present the other options to these women that are being manipulated in these scenarios that are being forced into these situations.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many resources out there. We
Yeah. I mean,
don't have to go this route. There's so many other options.
right. Yeah. What is it? Yeah. There's like, yeah. They. What is it? The left say that they're pro-choice. Well, I'm pro-choices. And that's then the choices are abstinence. But if that's not a viable option for you, then contraceptives, condoms, diaphragms, what have you. Uh, adoption.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, parenthood. Taking responsibility. I just won't give you that fifth choice. I won't give you that fifth finger to complete the fist. So yeah, I'm pro choices.
Yeah, there's a lot of choices, but like let's not murder the child.
Exactly.
Uh it's even like we unfortunately we had a friend who was kind of manipulated into this decision, uh, and we were trying to my wife and I, we were trying to urge her, like, there are tons of options. She made her decisions that, with her, with sex and everything, whatever. I'm not blaming her on that. Like, I'm not going to go that route. But, like, listen, you're pregnant. Don't get the abortion. It's not right. There are other options. There's adoption. Hell, if you can't even go that route, like, there's this whole, like, missionary service of, like, the baby box. You know, you
Yeah, I
you
mean, like, yeah, I think so. Like fire stations too. Like you can drop, you could deposit the baby at a firehouse.
yeah, it's just like there, like, it got to the point where I was like, hell, I'll take your fucking baby. Like, I'll I don't necessarily have, like, the funding, but I'll adopt your baby. Give it to us. We'll take it.
Hmm.
And she felt like that abortion was her only decision, and
Hmm.
God, it just kills me. And a lot of these women are manipulating to think that's the only choice. And
Right.
these people, these ghouls at these abortion clinics, who are selling off baby parts, and that have,
Yeah, who are profiting off of it.
this goes back to, like, what our previous topic with Twitter, you know, and YouTube and everything. Like, Project Veritas has exposed these people many times. They are selling off baby parts. They are, they're doing all sorts of crazy shit for a lot of money, and the long